Alright, so first things first, one of the things that come in the box, this little bad boy. What are these things, Brian? Well, they look crazy, but what it is, this item, and as you can see here, standard threading. This item is going to screw into the ring, and this is going to support our phone holder. Now this is, that wide. Now I only have an iPhone 5S, so mine's very narrow. This is not what I'm using it for. I'm actually using it for an iPad mini, so this is not going to work for me. But it does come and it will fit, and again, you know, I don't know how wide your phone is. That's a freaking wide phone. That's going to be a hard phone to put up to your head. But anyway, as long as it's not a phablet, you should be able to fit it in there. And the way this is set up, now when this is what it looks like when you get it. Pop this off, and then as you can see, that is open in there, and then it's got little slots cut in it. Well, that's for flexibility. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this, okay, and just push it down. This is literally going to go on the bottom, and then you're going to thread it just like that. And then what that does is that crimps down, and that gives it, and the tighter you squeeze it, the more rigid this becomes. Now you don't want to go crazy on it because it is just plastic, and this was 20 bucks for the whole thing. So far this, I mean, it doesn't have the feel of a super lightweight plastic. I spent a few years in plastic injection. I know what that feels like. This doesn't have the feel of super lightweight plastic, but it probably will not handle much impact, which is usually where they save the money. So I would say, like, you know, hard impact, hitting it, dropping, something like that, probably is not going to do it any favors. Could be wrong, just an assumption. So now that we have this item, then we can come back to our ring. Now, this is the business end of it, clearly. And so on the bottom is, you're going to see, and this freely spins in this housing, which, if you can see that little notch right there, that is how you get your flexibility, because the head has that kind of range. So once you get it set up, then you can move it. Now it obviously, you know, that's your set screw there basically. And so what will happen is this screws into that. Now the top of these stands come with a plastic cap on there, which every stand I have bought so far has that cap on there, and if you take that cap off, you will find these threads. And that is how the two mount together, and that's obviously, you know, how you get it up in the air. So on the bottom, and as we're looking at this, and for those who are used to working with cameras, pretty standard set bottom for any kind of, I mean, I could literally take my video camera that I'm shooting this on and mount that into the bottom of this, put this on top of the stand, and use that as my stand rather than the tripod I'm using right now. And then have a, you know, a fully functioning swivel as well, which of course this has like 3 times more than that. But I'm saying if I needed it, then I would have it with flexibility, and it does have the ability to tighten it down enough to where it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to put this back in the bottom, and then what we'll do is we'll just get it mounted. It's, like I said, I did all of it without even reading the directions. It's very straightforward. If you've ever used any kind of lighting equipment or anything like that, this is not going to be hard. So again, not brain surgery, clearly, because I'm doing it without a piece of paper in front of my face. So here's our, and then we're going to, again, this bottom, and as you can see, on my thumb, let's see if I can position this so you can see what's happening. That's not going to move, but the bottom is. And you can kind of hear it moving, and I'm saying that, and it's not wanting to move. Lordy. There we go. So, I mean, now I'm just going to go ahead and let it spin because it doesn't need to do that, but but you want to hang on to the bottom of the ring because, you know, sometimes you're just running one on top of the other. So I've got that in there relatively tight, thumb tight, and then once I tighten my thumb screw here, then you can see we're golden. Now, move this down a little bit. I do not have the stand very tight again. Like I said on the previous video, the stands are like super lightweight. You'll be able to do things like I just did, which was, it was already tight and I just pushed it down. Be aware. Again, 20 bucks. The stand is worth more than 20 bucks. And look at stands, if you don't believe me, they're not cheap, especially ones of any quality. This is not one of those, but again, I got a light with it too. So, all right, and then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mount the camera mount itself, so you can see where those go in. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking this back off of the stand, but how I'm taking it off is by spinning the stand. So if you have the stand loose, and I've learned this from putting PA equipment up, if the stand itself is loose, it'll spin, and then you can use that to unthread something rather than spinning the big thing that's on top of it. So what we have here, and I wanted to pull this off so I could give you a little bit of better picture. And there is, as you can see, there's your screw area. And then there's 3 of those mounted. And then all I'm going to do is literally take this and thread it in. It's literally is that simple. Now I would give it a little bit of a twist, not much, and then would adjust this. This once it stays in spot, do all your adjusting from your pivot point, not from your screw point. Sometimes it's easier to kind of force it into place, take the extra minute, do it right. Then that way you don't have any reaction later, because sometimes something over torqued will lighten up, and so then you get shifting, but you don't want that. So this is what she looks like. This is size, and to give you a frame of reference, you know, this is my big old head. All right. So this is our inline remote, and what we have, the top is your color, the brightness up. The next is 5 levels of color in one color spectrum, and then you have your brightness down. The middle button, the power button, is basically also puts you into the warm color spectrum if you have gone to the RGB color spectrum, which is when in the previous videos you saw the very definite blue, the very definite green. So that allows you to go back and forth, and as you are in each mode, there is an indicator to let you know which color spectrum that you're working in, because you see you have this swap, basically a swap button, top and bottom, that are basically cycling you through the 2 different color spectrums. But apart from that, that is really just about it. Like I said, they're very straightforward. One thing I do want to point out again, which this was very important to me, which is why I keep harping on it, is this is a totally sealed unit. You know, they ain't diddle falling off this. I need to be able to take these lights and put them in a bag with 4 microphones, a mixing board, a computer, all the lights and everything else that you need to do a remote video podcast. And so it needed to be something that would not come apart, which is why I really did not want one that had the rings that you put on it, because those clearly come off. And so if they come apart or come off, they can be chipped, broken, or lost. And that's not, I'm not into that. Too much of a tightwad. So again, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If I will be using these in action very, very soon. I'm going to be doing an interview at Wellness 360 in Troy, Ohio, actually coming up this week. So that should be coming up, posting the following week, and you're going to see these bad boys in full action. So, all right, like, share, subscribe. Get any questions or comments, leave them below. All right, thanks for stopping in. Love you guys. Bye.